questions. Your homework for tonight is page 420, 13 through 33, multiples of 3. So that's like, did I say 13? Whoops, 15. Change that around. 15 to 33 multiples of 3, so 15, 18, 21, and so forth. So 7-2 goes off a lot what we did yesterday. So I learned that I can find the inverse of a function as well as determine if two functions are inverses. So first for inverse relations, I give you an example of a relation A. Basically it's just three ordered pairs. Relation B, if they're inverses of each other, it's just become flipped. So instead of 1, 5, it's 5, 1, 9, 3, and then 7, 4. Now, that's more of just a vocab or a general knowledge thing. Our first skill is how to find the inverse function of a function. So basically for a function f of x, the inverse is always f to the negative 1 of x. So if f and f of negative 1 are inverses, then f of a equals b, if and only if the inverse equals a. So I kind of wrote out an example here for you. F of x equals x minus 4, and the inverse is x plus 4. Why does that work? Well, say we tried out x equals 6. So we're saying, hey, we're going to try this, let's see if it works. So x equals 6, I plug in 6 for x, so I have 6 minus 4, which is 2. What the inverse is saying is if this is truly an inverse, when I plug in 2, I should get back my 6. So the inverse here, 2, which in case we talked about was x plus 4, so we have 2 plus 4 is 6. That's what we started out as. So I know the fact that these two are inverses, and we checked it out. How to find, if you were given a function, how would you find it for yourself? The how. So we have 3 steps. Replace f of x or g of x with y, switch the x and y in the equation, and then solve for y. So step 1, I went from f of x equals 2x minus 5 to y equals 2x minus 5. Then I flipped where the y and x were. That's all I did. Just put y there, x there. And now step 3, solve for y. So we add 5 on both sides. So we get x plus 5 equals 2y. Divide by 2. And I get y equals x plus 5, all divided by 2. So this is the inverse function. Right there. That's going to be one of the skills that in your homework you're going to have. The other skill is finding out if two functions, so f of x and g of x, are they inverses of each other. And that's if and only if their composition, what we did yesterday, both have to equal exactly x. Alright? So if you flip the page, I'll give you a couple practice examples to find the inverse of each other. 7-2 is skills practice number 2. So first step, change g of x to y. So we have y equals 4x minus 6. That's the first step that it has on the page right here, the last page, the how. So we have the first step, y equals 4x minus 6. Then we're going to change basically where y and x are in this problem. That's kind of the second step. Replace x and y and just kind of flip them. And then we're going to add 6 on both sides. So we have x plus 6 equals 4y. And then divide by 4. And you get y equals x plus 6 divided by 4. 3 is kind of, it's even quicker. Right? You would have x equals y plus 4 and then subtract 4 on both sides. But let's look at number 5 right now. There's no f of x or g of x, so we don't have to replace anything. First thing we have to do is just switch where x and y are. Notice I did not move the squared with it. And then we're going to add 4 to both sides. So we have x plus 4 equals y squared. Square root both sides, and now you have y equals the square root of x plus 4. Don't change this. Just keep this as is. There you go. So the inverse again would look like this. Let's go down to skills practice 2. This is where they give you two polynomials, and they say, hey, find the inverse of them. So we have f of g of x. So we have g of x, so we put g of x in the middle, and f of x on the outside. And then you are just plugging in this part for x, you're substituting it in. So you have x plus 7 minus 7, so you get x. That's what we wanted. We're trying to prove that these two are inverses. That's the first step. Now you have to go to the other side. So you have g of f of x, right? And then so you have g of f, x minus 7 this time, equals x plus 7. You're just going to plug it in, so now you have x minus 7 plus 7, and you get x. So yes, f of x and g of x are inverses. Let's try 7 now. So I'm just going to shift this over a little bit. What was 7? And so I try f of g of x first. So you get f of 2x minus 3/4 equals 1/2 x plus 3/4. I'm going to substitute this in for x now. So you have 2x minus 3/4 plus 3/4. Make sure that you distribute. And you get then x minus 3/8 plus 3/4, which then turns into x plus 3/8. You'd have to get a common denominator before you add here, and that's what it turns into. This is not x, right? It's x plus 3/8. It's not equal to x. So just make the x saying no. F of x and g of x are not inverses. The last one I want you to try is where f of x equals 3x minus 2, g of x equals x plus 2 over 3. So try this right now. Let's find out, are these inverses, are they not inverses? If you want to check your work, and I don't have time to check, it is yes, they are. But I do want to have you try that out. So do check your work with that, and then check the homework problems, the homework check tonight.